Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 91. Any articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Please look for news recap number 140. So just a quick summary of things I'll be going over today. First, some content, some updates on the Metaverse Nomad show, and then the Atlas Brew that occurred, which included the DAO Council, kind of some updates. And then I'll go over two of my kind of segments. One is just kind of my thoughts on the state of Star Atlas, and then kind of my journey playing Star Atlas. But before I get to that, just a couple quick things about some Star Atlas projects I'm working on. The first is a Star Atlas merch store called Intergalactic Gear, which you can find at intergalacticgear.com. Officially open for business, however, only selling mugs because I'm lazy and busy and can't put another product on there. But if you really want to start out with a mug, please go there, intergalacticgear.com. But I also do have a merch survey there, so if you want to fill that out, greatly appreciate any feedback on merch items related to Star Atlas you'd like to purchase in the future. And then secondly, I have a kind of ongoing project trying to get together kind of a Star Atlas community, just basically of Star Atlas gamers who don't want to join a guild, but yet still want to kind of hang out. Maybe aren't finding the Star Atlas official Discord maybe the best place to communicate because you don't like the chat format and you like to kind of come and go, maybe get an email alert when there's a topic you're interested in. You can actually go to intergalacticcoalition.com and read a little more about my ideas to what this kind of community could be. If you're interested, there is an interest survey you can fill out there where you can leave your contact information. And once I get enough people that kind of like this idea, we can go ahead and maybe get that community started. So again, intergalacticcoalition.com. So just another couple content items that occurred this past week. I kind of feel like we're into a kind of common thread here, which is not a lot of updates, if any, from the Star Atlas team. Again, what do we call it? The raffle. Golden Carnival, sorry, couldn't remember what the word was, is kind of ongoing. I think we're in week 3, so that's sort of the kind of big community thing right now from the Star Atlas team. But again, if you listened before, you know I kind of review the week prior, so some of this actually is things that happened last weekend. So do listen frequently to the Metaverse Nomads, 3 people related to the Rome Guild that do their weekly live stream. At least for my time, it's kind of Sunday mornings, but I think they're all over the world. So anyways, so it's been a nice common occurrence. I think they were all up to like 3 years of, but they did mention at the end of the last one that they have decided to stop their weekly live stream due to other time commitments in their life and things like that. So many people have been mentioning that it became kind of their routine on Sundays, and I do concur with that. Even though I didn't listen live, I did listen on, the replay on YouTube. So, but I totally understand on time commitments, and yeah, they've been doing a great job talking about Star Atlas each week, so I really enjoyed listening to their chats and their consistency. But yeah, totally understand the reasoning. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I just wanted to pass that on. So we won't see any more links in my weekly news recap from them. The other thing that did occur was another Atlas Brew. Again, the community team at Star Atlas has been pretty consistent about having those on. Again, depending on where you are on the world, mine are... Actually, I'm not sure when they are because I've never listened live. But anyways, I think it's Wednesday mornings where I'm at, Pacific time. So anyways, they had a great, kind of a couple of news items. One they did mention, I almost forgot about it, but I guess probably because we'll see. They did mention the team might come out with an update in December. Now, they weren't promising anything. They definitely said this wouldn't be a town hall, would definitely not include announcements, but just sort of an update from the team, which, again, I want to say that's great. I think definitely something would be great to kind of end out the year. One thing, I guess, if we read between the lines, since it's not a town hall, there wasn't any product announcements, I think we can say with pretty high probability with U.S. holidays, Thanksgiving, at least for the United States, which I know a lot of Star Atlas team members are United States citizens, so I'm assuming they're celebrating that. And then, of course, globally, we have the traditional Christmas, winter, New Year's type of holiday break that occurs, and I know the team historically has always taken some time off for that. So it feels like there may only be a few more weeks left in their working year. So it does seem like we're probably not going to get anything more. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean there wouldn't be some minor improvements to Sage or something like that before the end of the year, because they have been talking about that. But I think we can, again, say with pretty much certainty that nothing gigantic will be coming out. So we'll see. But besides that, the Atlas Brew was an opportunity for the DAO Council to kind of give a status report and progress on their work. And again, if you want to get all the details, I'm not going to go into everything because that's what links are for. I'm just recapping stuff and giving you my analysis and thoughts on it. So anyway, so it was really great. They did kind of report that, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 meetings. They've been meeting weekly, which is great. But they have a lot of time zone things to balance. So yeah, totally makes sense. But they have been meeting, and they did come up with one big kind of, update or status on what they've been doing is they basically created, I guess they're calling it a knowledge base. They provided a link to it. I do have a link in my news recap. So if you go to intergalacticherald.com, look for news recap number 140, but you can also go in Star Atlas Discord, and I believe it's in the DAO announcements, something called Gitbook, which again, hadn't heard about it, but there's lots of things on the internet I haven't heard about. So, but it looked great and it was easy to kind of read. So they had, what I think was great, they had a bunch of stuff about the history of the DAO, references to previous articles, kind of pulling everything that's came out from the team and announcements into one place. So I think that's great. Kudos to the council for putting that together. I think it'll be a great resource. And like they said, this is a place where they can put everything in one place so you don't have to scroll through Discord or things like that. So totally on board on that. The interesting thing they did bring up is they have refined the PIPs, which again are the proposals that can be submitted to the DAO for voting and then execution of whatever that proposal was through the DAO Foundation. Anyways, all the details are there, but they had a really great graphic on how that process. So definitely, hopefully, people will be submitting PIPs going forward. What else? There was one other thing that was really great. Oh, I guess just the structure, talking a little bit about the council and things like that. So again, great, physical manifestation of the work they've been doing. And again, I want to mention again, because these council members are not paid, and they're doing the work themselves on their own time. So again, anything that they produce is excellent, great for the community and things like that. So, and that's pretty much it on the content. I think, yeah, that was pretty much it. Got a couple late week videos to still watch this weekend. But anyways, so that's pretty much on the content that came out ready to start. So just moving into kind of my 2 segments I do. One is kind of the state of Star Atlas. So I wanted to just briefly kind of give some thoughts on the Star Atlas raffle / Golden Carnival / Golden tickets. I'd been putting in about 100 tickets, which when you do the math, because you have to buy them in Atlas, it was like, I don't know, it seemed like a $1.40, $1.50, under $2. But then when I times by 16, I was like, oh wait, that's actual real money. So I dropped it down to 50, which was under $1, and I'm like, okay, that feels okay. But I have to admit, so the drawings occur, I think, on Fridays, and so I kind of check out my Star Atlas stuff on Friday nights, and I remembered, oh hey, I guess I should go check to see if I win. Pretty sure I didn't. Still not even sure because you got to check wallet addresses. But in the process of checking, and I know there's a mega one coming up, I have to admit, I was really engaged in it. And I kind of felt a little bad because I'm like, hey, what's $1 to buy less than 50 tickets? But when you look at the total number of tickets that is put in there, and I think it's over millions, you realize that, that's nothing. And I may have mentioned in the last one, it kind of occasionally get wrapped up when one of the big lotto Powerball drawings gets to, billion, or I think there was one that was even $1 billion. You're like, hey, I'll go buy a $2 ticket. What's the harm? But somebody wins, or you just don't go out the next time, or whatever. So I know on the lottery Powerball, the odds are astronomical, but I guess you feel because it's a smaller community and things. But again, I'm sure if somebody did the odds of 1 million or 2 million tickets and the number of prizes, it's better than the lottery, but I don't know. It's still just, it's hard. So yeah, I just don't feel engaged. And I guess I feel like I'm going through the motions, and I don't know, maybe it's the weekly is just too frequent. I hate to say, because they were saying they were going to do it for 16 weeks. So I guess they're almost through 1 month. But the other thing I realized is, other than the couple tweets, I'm not aware of any other promotion. And again, there's only the one live session, which again, during the day, I just can't. Can't attend, but don't know why I would attend. Yeah, so it's just really hard. And I guess in the end, I guess this just isn't an event for me. So I want to kind of balance that it's just not something I'm interested in, but I don't think it's a poor idea for the community, because some people are and some people are winning. And again, if I watched the drawing live and got wrapped up in a Discord live session, I mean, maybe that would be fun. And so I don't know. It's kind of toying with maybe not submitting any more tickets, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just not engaging. And I guess, like I've said on many times, I mean, you want to have a lot of different type of events to match a lot of different type of possible Star Atlas community gamers. So, just not for me. But again, want to say that at least it's something. It is the team doing something for the community, and some people are winning ships, so that's great for them and things like that. So yeah, that's just how I feel. So, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention, even though I kind of went in a little more depth on the DAO Council work, but it was really great to hear that, and definitely a lot of thanks to the council, who again is working without pay to do those things and to help the community. So shows real dedicated commitment, and want to just say thanks to them for doing those things, but also good to just see work coming, and the fact that at least that aspect of the Star Atlas ecosystem is finally kind of moving forward, even if, again, maybe it's not what everybody envisioned with the DAO when they resurrected and got the first PIPs approved and kind of the formation and got the council and then did the elections. And I know it's kind of whatever about the council, and just more of a whales could definitely manipulate it, but putting that in the past, they're doing work. And so whether they got on it due to, how the voting is structured, I mean, they're doing stuff. So I can't fault them for that at all. So I do appreciate that, and glad to hear what they're working on. And sounds like they, again, still have some more ideas. Like I think they mentioned they want to get a social media account set up, but some of them require costs and how to set up an email. And again, it's not really the team, and so who owns the email? And I mean, just a lot of small things that normally you don't have to think about, but since you're sort of this nebulous foundation concept that somebody still has to buy something. Like if you wanted an email address, I guess you get a free one but domain name or something, still there's costs somewhere. So, but again, just glad to hear they're doing some work, and that's great. So last segment, kind of my journey. So again, if you've been following along, I've been kind of working to try to redeem a Mamba X, finished mining the necessary hydrogen. Again, I'll do crafting kind of as a bulk thing. So I've been working on mining carbon. But supplies, I realized I was actually moving too many supplies. My transport fleet was doing really good, and those were growing faster than the carbon it was mining. So I decided to stop the transport and take that transport fleet and just have it mining carbon. So that was actually working out great. And then the resources, in this case, I believe it was ammo, was the first one to go, which kind of makes sense. But I think food was just behind it, and fuel wasn't a problem. So went back to moving resources, but this time I decided to not use warp, but actually do subwarp to kind of put in a kind of, not a cooldown timer, but basically slow it down. And that way maybe it would keep up, and I would start actually moving carbon back to the Central Space Station. So that all seemed pretty good. Then I realized I was starting to run out of soul, so I was going to go ahead and pop that back up. I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I started with just 0.1 soul. And I have to admit that was out of a slight paranoia reason. I remember reading some of the messages in the Sly Discord about the assistant tool, and people were mentioning that sometimes the soul seemed to get taken more than they thought it should and things like that. So again, I just got kind of worried to put too much in there in case something went haywire, because again, it is automation, and again, it feels more like our fleets might break and stop working, but if something breaks and causes transactions that fail, but yet you still, I don't know, when I use Phantom normally with my Ledger wallet, and sometimes it says this thing may revert. Am I going to get this money back? So anyways, something automated, I was realizing that would be kind of bad. So I went ahead and transferred over another 0.1, and this time when I was transferring, kind of glanced at the dollar amount, and I was like, whoa, $25. And I was like, when did I start this? And I don't remember if I just remember I didn't put the time that I transferred the things. But anyways, I was just realizing, is that like a week? And again, maybe I wasn't using my fleet as efficient with, moving too many resources and things like that. But that's part of the game. Sometimes you're not as efficient. And whatever the time frame was, it wasn't a month, maybe top at 2 weeks. Maybe it was a week, somewhere in the middle, maybe 9 days. I don't know. Again, I wasn't really paying that much attention. In fact, I wasn't even calculating SOL on the hydrogen mining one. But I realized at that rate, I mean, I'd only have to go a couple more weeks and I'd have so much money spent just on SOL fees that I could just buy the ship outright. Especially that SOL's going up right now with all kind of the crypto markets in general. So I kind of paused and I was thinking, should I stop this? And I don't know, whenever I made this thing, it was late in the evening or first thing in the morning, whenever I was doing my checks. So I kind of just said, well, I'll just kind of transfer it already. Let's just keep it going. But I really is realizing this isn't maybe working. So I have to say, it's kind of made me a little more like, what is the level? What's the break even? Where is the fleet size that makes any of this worthwhile? Because again, I know they've mentioned that is a known issue, that transaction fees are fixed in the sense that per transaction it costs this. So if your transaction is to, mine, I don't know, say 1,000 things or 1,000,000 things, the transaction fee is exactly the same. There's no proportionality. So yeah, I get why larger fleets, maybe that totally is irrelevant. I mean, again, if I mined 1,000,000 copper or carbon per cycle, yeah, I'd have my 35 million things done. But if I'm only mining, I don't even know what I'm mining, 8,000 or something. Yeah, I mean, you're going to run way through more transactions. Anyways, just all to say is, one, I guess I could pay more attention and try to really nail down this calculation. But I guess my gut is telling me that it's just not going to work. I mean, you can't do that. And if SOL keeps going up, I mean, at some point I'll have more money in SOL than I will a ship, which again, I could just sell the SOL and buy the ship. So I don't know, it's yeah, I guess deep down I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it is. And so it's hard to kind of maybe say I should just stop. I mean, kind of like, I got time. I got some ships. I got some resources from my claim stakes. Yeah, it'll all work out. But not at $25 refresh period. So I don't know. I don't know. Later, though, I did have one thought that maybe, as again, people have mentioned, that this idea of being able to do everything is not the way that the game is designed. You really have to specialize, but not really much to specialize. I could specialize in mining. Well, it doesn't work. I still have to move it. So again, I think that's why a couple of the content creators say they're just hydrogen farmers, because the hydrogen is at the CSS, so you can easily get access. Now, just as a quick aside, I did realize later, local markets completely change everything in the sense that I literally could mine something, sell it to buy something, and that is a potential supply chain thing. It's the mine everything, move everything, craft everything, i.e. everything. Again, maybe that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. But again, my idea was maybe to take my 3 fleets that are doing carbon mining, transport of carbon, and then hydrogen mining to give me some fuel, because I don't think my claim stakes will cover it. Maybe that strategy just needs to go away, and I just need to break everything up into one gigantic fleet and just say, transport, what would I transport? Ammo, food, and fuel over to another starbase. Let that run for a while, stockpile in a sense, then stop, move the fleet out there, mine a whole bunch of carbon, and then move it all back. I mean, that is a supply chain route. It's, again, I just need to think it through, because it's like, now that I said it out loud, it's like, what's wrong with that? I don't have to do everything at the same time. I don't know. Maybe when we first saw Sage, people were talking about having multiple fleets. So I'll make multiple fleets too. But again, maybe one fleet is all that is. Anyways, so those are just some of the thoughts. Sorry, those are not worked out thoughts just off the top of my head. But when I get some spare brain time, I probably should figure that out, because again, if I wait another cycle, I'll put another $25 of SOL in, and now I'm up to 50, which is a sixth of the price, of the Mamba X on the marketplace. So that is not sustainable if I'm only on the second of 7 or 8 resources to mine. And some of them get further out too, so there'll be more fuel costs to transport that far. So anyways, that's sort of my update on where I'm at. So that kind of wraps up the podcast. So again, thanks for listening. Again, totally open to anybody who's interested in being a guest on this podcast. Again, we can talk about the week in review, could talk about what you're working on in Star Atlas if you're a content creator or builder. Love to, of course, have any team members who want to talk about kind of beginner topics for Star Atlas. Please go to intergalacticherald.com, go to my contact page. You can send me some information there. Also, again, if you're interested in any Star Atlas merch, if the merch is only Star Atlas mugs, then I have something for you. Please go to intergalacticgear.com and you can purchase there. Only ship in the United States. Just there was a lot of configuration, so I wasn't able to figure out international shipping and taxes and so many things. But someday, that's all on the to-do list. It just, you had to start at some place, and I got to mugs and United States shipping and United States taxes, sales tax. But I do have a merch over there that's open to, of course, anyone who wants to give me some feedback on merch they want. And again, if you're interested in a Star Atlas gaming or a community just of gamers, not necessarily people who want to join guild, or that you don't want to join a guild, or you don't like the Star Atlas Discord, you're more like threaded discussions and email notifications, please go to intergalacticcoalition.com and fill out the interest survey there. Other than that, thanks for listening, and have a great week ahead. This is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald.